And now, live from the most watched television station in the Arklatex, this is KSLA News 12 at 10.
Good evening. Thanks, Sue, for being with us tonight. It is still dark and cold tonight inside thousands of homes in the Arklatex.
And it could be several more days before everyone gets their power back. Now, help arrived this afternoon in several North Louisiana towns, help from as far away as Lafayette and Plaquemine. Mimi Page updates our coverage.
This was a welcome sound today in Minden, Louisiana, as residents watched and waited for electric crews to restore power. This afternoon, 70% of Minden residents were still in the dark, many of them without heat. The lucky ones have fireplaces or wood-burning stoves.
I've been playing Pioneer Woman for the last 2 days and gathering firewood and cooking on my little earth stove. We had fresh peas and cornbread for supper last night.
Go out back, I can go out across the street and turn and go across the railroad tracks, and just as you cross the railroad tracks at the bottom of the hill, be the first street to your right.
Utility crews from several South Louisiana towns came to help, including Plaquemine, New Iberia, and Lafayette.
A lot of people helped us in Lafayette when Hurricane Andrew came down, so we'd like to return the favor.
City officials say they hope to have power restored to most homes by tonight, but some won't light up until Monday.
They're going to clear the lines first. We'll have to leave them de-energized, clear the lines, check the lines, take those homes that have had services torn down, take those off, and then re-energize the lines.
Most of Minden's roads are now clear, but in Gibbsland, it's a different story, and no one had power today. Officials say it may take longer to restore power to smaller towns, but they will work 24 hours a day until they do.
There you go. If they'd all do that just like that, everything work out fine.
In Minden, Mimi Page, KSLA News 12.
Well, the hard work paid off. Claiborne Electric crews managed to get power restored to about 6,000 customers today, and they say they're working as fast as they can to get everyone else back online. For their customers with no power to the wells, drinking water is available at their office in Homer.
The power outage isn't just a rural problem. There are hundreds of homes in Shreveport still without power tonight. It is all more than just an inconvenience. Tree limbs tangled in power lines pose a danger to utility workers, firefighters, and of course, as you see there, the public. Despite continuing problems with limbs falling on power lines, SWEPCO crews have restored power to more than 9,000 people just since noon today.
The problem was that even when we get transmission lines and substations back up, another tree would fall and we'd be back to square one or maybe even further behind than that.
Crews will work through the night and through the weekend. Utility companies say there's no way to tell exactly when your power might be restored, and of course they ask for your patience. In other news tonight, the Army Corps of Engineers has given Harrah's Shreveport permission to build a cofferdam around its casino on the Red River. That permit is timely for Shreveport. The Shreveport Rose shoved off from its Morgan City shipyard this morning, starting a long voyage upriver. The 210-foot, 3-deck paddle wheeler has been under construction since last spring. It's expected to arrive in Shreveport within 10 days. The boat is about 95% complete. Final construction will start once the boat comes dockside in Shreveport. Harrah's hopes to open the floating casino in mid-April.
A Bowie County, Texas grand jury has returned indictments against 3 people, including a teenager suspected of setting fire to the Red Lick School last October. 17-year-old Danny Dwayne Smith faces several charges connected with that fire at the Red Lick School. He will face trial as an adult on an arson charge, 2 counts of burglary, and a charge of aggravated assault on a jailer. The indictment says on November the 27th, Smith and another juvenile injured a detention worker during an attempted escape from the Bowie County Juvenile Detention Center. That other juvenile, aged 14, has been committed to the Texas Youth Commission for the school arson. Now, the grand jury also indicted 2 other men, those 2 on murder charges. 21-year-old Charles Rogers of Broken Bow, Oklahoma, is charged with capital murder. That's for the October 5th killing of 68-year-old Tom Langford of DeKalb, Texas. The district attorney says he will not seek the death penalty in that case. 17-year-old Jerry Anderson of Texarkana, Texas, was also indicted for murder, accused of killing his sister 2 years ago. He will stand trial as an adult. U.S. Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison has been cleared of criminal ethics charges in Texas. Prosecutors asked that those charges be dropped after a judge refused to rule whether key prosecution evidence would be admitted in the trial. The judge then directed the jury to return a not guilty verdict, and the jury complied. Hutchison, a Republican, was accused of using state money, employees, and computers for personal and campaign purposes while she was state treasurer of Texas. The senator maintains that those charges were politically motivated. It's Mardi Gras time here in the Arklatex. Still ahead, a look at some of tonight's festivities and a look ahead to the Crew of Gemini parade coming up tomorrow.
And later in the show, Sherry Warren makes her final visit to an Arklatex hometown. Stay with us.
Good only through the boat show.
That's right. Skeeter, Ranger, Tracker, and Sea Ray have helped us provide boat show specials that will end Sunday night.
$100 will lay away any rig until April 1st at 6.75 financing. And don't forget...
News 12.
Mardi Gras is in full swing in the Arklatex with a big parade tonight.
And another even bigger parade coming up tomorrow. Tonight's event, the Crew of Centaur Parade. It's the second year for this parade, which this year had a nautical Rollin' on the Red theme. That parade twisted through the streets of Shreveport and Bossier with some, count this, 80 floats, marching bands, dance lines, and there was, of course, some Mardi Gras royalty. Now, there's a part of Mardi Gras that you don't normally see unless you happen to be a member of a crew.
And that, Carl, is the float loading party, where crew members put the final touches on the floats that they have worked so hard to build. Kelly Johnson takes us behind the scenes of the Crew of Gemini as they get ready for tomorrow night's parade.
Tonight, these beads are just strings of plastic balls, but tomorrow night, they'll be precious, valuable jewels. Beautiful beads are what makes Mardi Gras parades so much fun. But before that can happen, the Crew of Gemini has to load these throws onto huge hooks hidden inside of the floats.
It takes so much time when you have boxes and boxes of beads to unwrap and hang up on the little hooks so that when you're going down the parade route, you don't have to stop. You can constantly be throwing it.
And of course, crew members will be throwing plenty of doubloons, but you haven't seen anything until you see them catapult out of this Cole's crew cannon.
Steve Cole of Shreveport invented the gizmo. It can shoot about 20 doubloons way out into a crowd.
Aim it out at the pickup. Some people park way out back, and you can get it out a little bit further, then you can throw it.
After the beads and doubloons are loaded, each float is given a final inspection. That's to be sure they can make it under power lines. Adam and Eve had a close call tonight, but crew members were quick to lend a helping hand. This year, the Crew of Gemini's theme is Love Makes the World Go Round. But it's Mardi Gras beads that make the parade. So if you want good throws, the best advice is to stand near the end.
And then towards the middle of the parade, you get to be real nervous because you see all these that you've still got left to do. You rip open the box, and you start throwing them, and you end up throwing gobs of them. Just gobs. And people get them on top of their heads.
Throwing and catching beads is almost like an art. And the only way to judge how well you do is by what you have around your neck. In Bossier City, Kelly Johnson, KSLA News 12.
Now, tomorrow night's parade begins at 6 o'clock on Riley Lane. That's just off Kings Highway. Rather, East Kings Highway, I think, isn't it? It heads east on Shreveport-Barksdale across the river, turning north up Barksdale Boulevard. And then it turns on to Airline Drive and follows that route until the finish at Pierre Bossier Mall. If you can't get out or you want to see it from the comfort of your own home, well, you can watch it right here.
When all of the top designers in America parade their fall fashions down the runway, often displayed by the world's supermodels. They're all in town for the occasion and viewed by fashion editors, socialites, celebrities, and paparazzi from all over the world. Now, when I say top...
A set or a spike?
A spike.
A spike is right. The guy is full of knowledge. That's 45. One more picture. You're our first team to go in the maze, okay? Here we go. Hands on buzzers. Here's the next picture. Matthew for 10.
Peppers.
Peppers is right. Bell peppers, red peppers, green peppers.